looking at blockchain through the lens of Bitcoin. This is not like I want to make a video about Bitcoin specifically. In this section, I'm not going to completely explain what Bitcoin is, but I'm going to explain what blockchain is by explaining how Bitcoin uses the blockchain. So as we just discussed, blockchain is just a way of storing and validating information across huge networks. You can store all of the information about all of the transactions that have been made with Bitcoin, who owns what, who has traded with who, very securely, very reliably. The reason why this is so useful, and especially today, is because today our money is mostly digitized. The problem with that is that today you can actually go to your bank and you can ask for your money and get them and take them home, and you can put them in your mattress, or you can bury them in the backyard or anything like that. So you can take ownership of your own money if you don't trust the bank, let's say. But if your money is completely digital, then how are you going to store them yourself? You have no way of actually withdrawing your money from the bank and storing them yourself. You have no ownership over your own money all of a sudden, because there is no way of storing digital money without a bank. And Bitcoin is kind of the solution to this, or cryptocurrencies in general, because with cryptocurrencies you will have this wallet, as it's called, on the blockchain, and in that wallet you can store your own money and have control over them, even though they're completely digital. Today, if you want to buy something, let's say you want to buy something online, what happens is you have your credit card, and with your credit card you tell your bank that they should transfer money to this other account. Now, when you do that, a lot of stuff happens. There's a lot of different points that this information has to go through. First of all, you type in your credit card information into this website, and this website has a payment provider, which then sends the information to the banks that the money should be transferred, and so this bank is contacting this bank over here and transferring the money. And so you can see how there's a lot of steps to that process, and you pay a fee every time there are one of these intermediaries. So you pay a fee to the payment provider, you pay a fee to the credit card company, you pay a fee to the bank, and if you're sending money to another country, you're probably also paying for like exchange rates. So if I'm paying with Danish kroners and I'm buying something in the US, on the way to the US, my Danish kroners are going to be exchanged somehow to dollars, and there's an exchange rate and there's a fee for exchanging the money. And also there's a lot of risk involved, because your information about this trade is moving through all of these different parties, and if just one of them has a breakdown or is hacked or anything like that, then that's a security risk. When you're holding your own money on the blockchain in this digitized way, you can instead transfer them directly to the other person without the bank, without the credit card company, without the payment provider. You don't have to exchange the currency for another currency, so there's no exchange rate there. You can just directly transfer the money, just like with cash. I can give you $100 bill. That costs me nothing. There's no bureaucracy. I don't have to go through any middleman. I can just give you this $100 bill if I want to. And it's the exact same with cryptocurrency. It's just a digital cash. It's a digital version of cash. I hope that you can start to see why this would be incredibly useful in a future society. But now the question is, how can we trust it? That's, I think, what a lot of people are struggling with, myself included, is how can we trust that if I spend my hard-earned money buying some Bitcoin, let's say, how can I trust that these will keep being valuable? How can I know that everyone is not just going to stop using Bitcoin and all of a sudden I'm the only one having Bitcoin and now they're worth nothing because I can't transfer them to anyone? No one wants to trade in Bitcoin. How can we know that that is not going to happen? And that is the risk of cryptocurrency is that no one can really truly guarantee you that the system is going to keep being used by everyone. There's a lot of data that points to the fact that this might be the new monetary system. And I'm going to go through some of it here. Some of it I'm going to go through in the video about Bitcoin, where I just talk about Bitcoin. But here I want to talk about how the blockchain can help in creating trust in this system, and why this underlying technology of cryptocurrency might be a source of a completely new monetary system. Okay, so to simplify things a little bit, let's try and look at what is money. On a fundamental level, what is money actually? So money is a store of value. So when you spend your time and energy working, you're creating value. And you might be creating value in a job. You're filling out some job function that is creating value, and you spend your time and energy filling out this function. You're sacrificing time and energy, and by doing that, you're creating what we call value. And this value that you're creating, you want to be able to store that so that you can carry it across time. When you've created this value, instead of it just like evaporating into thin air, you want to be able to store it in something that you can then save for later. For example, if you get sick and you can't spend time and energy creating value, you have this stored value from your work, the time and energy that you spent in the past, that you can then take and use, because now you're not able to spend time and energy. That's basically the whole idea of having like a pension, like saving up for your retirement. That comes from this concept of money, saving up for your retirement. It is just you want to store the value of your work for later. Okay, so that is what money is. So now if we think about what would constitute good money then? What criteria do we want this object that we use as money to fulfill? So the first criteria that you would probably want this object to have is that you would want it to be indestructible. Because if you have sacrificed time and energy and you have stored that value in something, you would like that thing to not go away. You would like that to not lose that thing ever. You would like to be sure that this thing is going to last. So that is the first thing that I think good money should have. Secondly, you would probably want it to be very difficult to fake, because you don't want a situation where you are spending your time and energy and you're getting this money, and now someone else can just fake some money without spending time and energy, and now they have the same money as you do, but they didn't expend any time or energy, they just faked the money. You don't want a system like that. That is something that makes you trust less in this money that you have. And also, you would want to be able to trust that the money that you are paid is valid and that you can use it. Third, you would probably want your money to be easy to transport, because you would want to be able to carry it around with you, so that if you encounter an opportunity to spend or invest that money, then you can do that right away, instead of having to say, hold on to that thought for a minute, I'm just gonna go home to my house and collect these gold bars that I have lying around at home and gonna carry them back here so that I can make this trade with you. That would be very inefficient. So you want something that you can carry with you, so you can make transactions immediately as you go. Fourth, you might want to feel secure about carrying your money around with you. You might want to feel secure that if you have your credit card, let's say, no one can just steal it and use it, because they would also need your PIN code, for example. That is the security of credit cards, right? So you want a system like that, where even though people steal your wallet, they cannot open it and actually get the money that is inside it. And fifth, you would want to have full control over it. And what I mean by that is, you wouldn't want a situation where the government, for example, could go in and freeze all of your money and say, you cannot spend this money. This money is no longer under your control. Or where they can make decisions about what the value of your money is. You would want to have complete ownership over your own money, so that only you decide what you can spend it on, how much of it you can spend, and when, and where you're gonna store it, and all of that stuff. The blockchain solves every single one of these problems. On the blockchain, all of the information that is stored cannot be destroyed by any one party, like I said before, because of the distributed ledger. No one person or minority of people on the blockchain can choose to destroy any information on the blockchain. Actually, you would have to wipe out the entire system. And since the entire system is distributed to every single user on the system, you would have to destroy every single person using Bitcoin to actually destroy Bitcoin. If just one single person is left, like if a meteor hits the earth and only one person on the entire Bitcoin blockchain is left, the entire Bitcoin blockchain is still operating and functioning. And so it's nearly impossible to destroy. If it were to be destroyed, that would basically mean that we would probably also be destroyed. The world would be destroyed. It would be a post-apocalyptic scenario. And in a post-apocalyptic world, you don't have really that much use for money anyway. So Bitcoin is also impossible to fake, because what we discussed earlier with the distributed ledger technology, no one can just falsify information on the blockchain because it is constantly validated with all of the other information on the blockchain. And so you would have to falsify the information on the entire blockchain at once, or at least on 51% of the blockchain. And since there are many million users, it's not possible to do. You would have to hack every single device of over half of all the users on the blockchain and change the information at the same time to actually falsify anything. So it cannot be falsified, it cannot be faked. You cannot be paid with a fake Bitcoin. And as we have discussed, it's also very easy to transfer because it's digital money. Just like with your credit card, you can carry it around, you can transfer it to anyone you want to. Because of the encryption that we talked about in the beginning of the video, it's very difficult, not to say impossible again. I try not to repeat myself all the time, but it is very, very difficult to steal Bitcoin. And the reason why I'm not saying impossible is that it has happened, but it has not happened in the sense that someone broke this encryption system that is in Bitcoin. It has happened in the case of if you some way accidentally share your password to your wallet where you have your Bitcoin, then of course someone can log into your wallet and they can transfer the money to another account. So that is a possibility, just like it is with your online banking or other services. But it's not possible without your password or another user's password. You can't break in from the outside. You have to get the password for the wallet to actually break in and steal it. And so it's still extremely secure. No one owns Bitcoin. It's completely decentralized, which means that there is no group of people that have the control over the system. No minority group that can make decisions about how the system works. It's a truly decentralized system, which means that it is basically owned by all of the participants on the system. And so we have this majority concept, that the majority of the system would have to be corrupt for the system to be corrupt. And that's a very, very, very unlikely scenario. It doesn't really make sense in any logical way that a majority of a system would cheat the system, because then they're basically just cheating themselves. So in this way, this blockchain technology creates a very, very good foundation for creating digital currencies. Now, there are some other qualities to money, but I'll go through that in the Bitcoin video, as I said, which will come later on the channel. Maybe at the point where you're watching this video, it's already there, so go look at the channel. But just with the things that we've listed here, it's very easy to see how cryptocurrencies or Bitcoin is one of the best ways of transacting value between people that we have ever seen. It can be what we would call good money, just like gold, just even better than gold actually. Over time, if the technology can prove itself to be trustworthy, if it can prove itself to be stable, then more and more people will start trusting it and putting their money in it. And that's what we're seeing right now, is that more and more people are starting to trust in this cryptocurrency system, and in Bitcoin especially, and actually putting their money in it. And that is what creates the trustable system, is when everyone is using it, then it is safe, because then no one is going to stop using it. Just like you wouldn't stop using money today, you wouldn't start saying, I'm gonna go over and instead of money, I'm gonna start using seashells as money. You wouldn't do that because no one else is trading with seashells, and so that just becomes the norm. And that's the same thing with if everyone goes over to using cryptocurrencies and Bitcoin, which is happening at a very rapid rate right now, then no one would go back to the old monetary system. And so there is trust and stability and safety in the cryptocurrency system. And that is the movement that we're kind of seeing right now.